start. Today is actually Yud Gimel, but today is Yud Dalet actually, but we're starting at the end of Yud Bais.
Right.
We'll do Yud Gimel.
What, they're already up to Yud Dalet?
Yeah.
Also, on Shabbos we did not, on Sunday we did not finish the extra. You know what? I thought so. I don't want to say anything because I know we did.
We did a lot. But
Okay, so we're still a daf behind. Got it. Yud Bais on the base.
We're holding here right after the Mishnah. And in the Mishnah we learned that if someone eats half an olive size of forbidden fats, and then he eats another half, we said that it combines. The question is, how much time between the two eatings, half a zayas in the morning, half a zayas in the afternoon, how much time could there be for it to combine? So we had a machlokes. The mayor says that you look at the food as if it's crumbled into small pieces. And you imagine like it's little kernels, like we said, like as if it's like sunflower seeds. And that's what he's eating. And that, we had two ways, that's an ambiguous statement because there's two ways of translating that. One way of translating that could mean that you have all day to eat it. The other way of translating that to mean is that you never stop. So it could be l'chumra or l'kula. When we say l'chumra, we mean that it combines in your chayiv to bring a karban because you have all day to eat it. L'kula, it would mean is that you can never interrupt even for a second because you eat these things, there's no interruption. And then that would mean that if you do interrupt even for a second, then it doesn't combine and you're pater from a karban. So that's the chumra and kula. That's the opinion of Rabbi Meir. And it's unclear what Rabbi Meir really holds. The Chachamim said that you have, unless he waits from the beginning until end, the amount of time of achilas pras is chayiv. More than achilas pras. Pras is a half a loaf of bread. Pras means not prize, but it means to split in half. So a full loaf of bread would be a kikar. This is a pras, a prusa. Prusa is a piece, right? Okay, Ibaylahu. We're starting from Ibaylahu. The yeshiva has a question. When we said Reb Meir mentioned the opinion of Reb Meir, is that l'chumra kamar or l'kula kamar? Is he saying a stringency or a leniency? Again, Reb Meir's words were that it's as if he ate toasted kernels. Okay. So the Gemara explains what the question is. L'chumra kamar, is he being strict? V'achiktani, and this is what he means to say, kilo achal klayas, as if he's eating toasted kernels. That even if he eats them all day, even though from beginning of starting to eat this prohibited food, we're talking about he's eating chalev, but he doesn't eat enough in one go. He eats the rest of it later. So if he's eating it the whole day, slowly, piece by piece. So kivan demashche achilase, because he's continuing to eat mechayev, then he's going to be chayev, even though it's more than a k'dei achilas pras, even though it takes more than whatever achilas pras is, 4 minutes, 9 minutes, however long it takes to eat half a loaf of bread. And the Rabbanan respond, no, the whole eating can only take achilas pras. But if it takes longer than achilas pras, then he's pater. And Reb Meir was the strict one, and the Chamar being lenient. Dilmar, maybe it's the opposite. L'kula kamar, Reb Meir was actually being lenient. The achiktani, this is what he means. Kilo eichel klayas. It's as if he's eating toasted kernels. Ifsik beini. That's because he doesn't interrupt. Aval I pasik beini. But if he does interrupt, afagav demitchila vad seif bechdi achilas pras is pater. Even though he ate in less than achilas pras, he's still exempt. So he's being more lenient. Ramalei Rabbanan, the Rabbanan say no. An interruption doesn't invalidate, doesn't mess up the prohibition, doesn't invalidate the prohibition. Why? Because given the mitchila vad seif b'chdei achilas prasu, so he's chayiv. Since from beginning to end, the fact is, he ate it in less than achilas pras, so he's going to be chayiv. The Rabbanan are the strict ones, and Reb Meir is the lenient one. So we have two ways of reading the Mishnah. In other words, are we dealing here with, are they giving a shear in the eating or in the interruption? That's the Gemara's question. Is it in the eating or in the interruption? So we don't know what the, we have the words, but we don't know what they mean. So Tashma, come and listen. So this is what an editor is supposed to do. You're supposed to make sure that that any person that reads it is able to take the message from it. We're going to prove what it means. Chacham say until he waits the amount of time of eating a half a loaf of bread, from beginning to end. We're on top of Yud Gimel. If we say Reb Meir l'chumra, that Reb Meir was being strict, what are the Chachamim coming to do? They're coming to be lenient. So when they're being lenient, they're saying, when would it be permitted? When not permitted, but when will you be exempt from punishment? That's what it means, that you'll only be chayev unless until he waits. They didn't say it. What did they say? They said chayev. We take out the yud beis chayev. Tevas chayev nimchak. There is no word chayev unless he waits a k'dei achilas pras. So they say in between. So Reb Meir was being strict in saying that he's exempt if he takes any break. That he has all day to eat it. Reb Meir was being strict. He has all day to eat it and he's chayev. Chum say, no, he's not chayev. The Chum being lenient. Unless he takes more than a k'dei achilas pras, he's not chayev. Ad shesha k'dei achilas pras. Now the whole introduction is, when is he going to be pater? The eating. Okay. This is, when is he going to be pater? No, we don't have an introduction into the Mishnah to say if we're dealing with chayev or pater. That would have resolved it. It says, let's say the introduction is, when is he going to be pater? And then Reb Meir would say, he's not pater even if it takes him the whole day. And the Chum say he's going to be pater if it takes him more than achilas pras. So then this would make sense. But if we say it the other way, that we say, when is he going to be chayev? And Reb Meir would say that if he makes the single interruption, he's already exempt. Because you have to compare this to the way people eat seeds, toasted kernels, where they don't stop. The Chachamim should say imsha, that if he waits, then he's going to be chayev if it's not longer than achilas pras. Why does he say ad sheyish? And the question is, unless he waits. Unless he waits is coming to tell me
a patur from a chayev.
Right.
That he's chayev unless.
He's chayev unless. So that means that Reb Meir is saying that he's chayev all the time, and they're saying that he's only going to be chayev if he eats that. So they're going to be lenient. Right. They're going to be lenient. So the wording fits better if Reb Meir is being strict. Elalav shmamina, Reb Meir l'chumra shmamina. From the reading of the Chachamim, it tells me that they're arguing on Reb Meir, that Reb Meir is being too strict, and they're saying, no, you have to be more lenient. Ad sheyisha b'chdei achilas pras. Okay, shmamina. We see that's a conclusion. Amar Rav Noi, Amar Shmuel. Is more common.
Didn't the last thing you answer with a question? The last sentence you just said wasn't it a question?
Shmamina.
Rav Meir l'chumra.
Shmamina it is. And then Shmamina it is. You could read it like that. That's fine. You can read it like that. You could read, is it like that? Yes, it is.
Because they said the question.
They probably did that by tiyufta. Tiyufta de Rameya? Tiyufta, it's a tiyufta. Shmamina Rameya l'chumra? Shmamina. That's how they would do it. Rav Noi says in the name of Shmuel, B'chalavim u'b'nevela ad sheyishim mitchila v'ad seif b'chdei achilas pras. When it comes to fats or prohibited food, it's non-kosher food, nevela would mean an animal that wasn't shechted. So, in order to be chayiv, the whole kazayas needs to be eaten within, let's say, 4 minutes. Kedei achilas pras. Amount of time it takes to eat the matzah. So, oichlem tmeim. Let's say he's eating food that's tamei. Now, food that's tamei, if he eats a certain amount, it makes his body tamei. See, food doesn't make a person tamei. He touches food. People make food tamei. It doesn't work the other way. Food doesn't make people tamei. Unless, if they eat a certain amount of food, then they're not allowed to eat truma. So, here we're talking about he's eating a certain amount of food, but the only thing is he's going to spread out the amount of time it takes him to eat it. So it wasn't one of those, they have these massive jawbreakers that the kids... So it would take too long. It takes too long to eat it. He has to eat it in a certain amount of time. But let's see what happens here. Oichlem tmeim. If he eats impure foods, ushkatzim or amasim, umashkim, these are things that we're thinking would make him tamei if he eats them. And mashkim means mashkim tmeim. It says, afilu koliyim kule b'chdei achilas pras. Even the whole day in the amount of time of achilas pras. Now, that's a little bit of a contradiction. You can't say both of those. That's like the guy says, for you, anytime. On Monday, in between 5 and 5:15. 1 second, what are you saying over here? Koliyim kule or b'chdei achilas pras. We'll see. So my kamar, what does this mean? Amar Rav Papa. Rav Papa says, hachi kamar. This is what it means. Afilu koliyim kulei. Even if he takes the whole day to eat it. Now he needs to eat more than a kazayas. How much is a pras? It's either 3 or 4 eggs. 3 or 4 eggs or kazesim. I don't remember. Gimel bayim. Chatzi kikar. Is daled bayim. Each egg, let's say each egg has 2 kazesim in it. So he has to eat a chatzi pras. That's a half of a half, which is a quarter. So he has to eat 4 kazesim, according to Rashi. According to Rashi in the Rama. According to Rashi, he has to eat 4 kazesim to make him tummy. He has all day to eat it, but each eating needs to be. Each kazayas needs to be b'chdei achilas pras. Then you break it up, but that would make him tummy. You follow what's going on here? That he can have intervals, but the eating has to be done in a way of eating. Okay. Meisvei, here's a question. All food joins together to make gviyas the body. Makes the body possible from eating truma with an achilas pras, with eating half a loaf of bread. My love, da'achle lachatzi pras b'chdei achilas pras. Sounds like that he has to eat it in the amount of time that it takes to eat a half a loaf of bread. We said that you have all day. Gemara says, "Loi, it's not the pshat. Da'achal kazayas b'chdei achilas pras." Each kazayas was b'chdei achilas pras, but yes, you still have all day to eat to finish it. Okay. Meisvei. Where's the question?
Chatzi pras, a quarter of a bread?
Yeah, because pras is a half,
right.
And this is half a half. The Gemara says that there's different types of bread. Some take more longer to eat. So it says we're talking about pas chitin. Pas chitin and pas sa'irim. Does the Gemara say pas sa'irim? The Gemara says pas sa'irim. But together with a dip. together with a dip. How long it takes to eat it. I don't know if that makes it to go quicker or slower.
What is assumed as to the size of the loaf that's getting cut in half to
Yeah.
measure?
So the loaf was 8 eggs of flour
8
or
eggs of
ingredients.
flour.
Would be 16 ounces the whole thing. Let's say an egg is 2 ounces. Okay.
Funny, you said the word dip and everybody.
So I was thinking about some other things. That would be a game of association. I say the word dip, and what comes to your mind? The first thing everyone shouts out something else. Okay. No one said peanut butter. Meisrei. We have another question. All food combines to make the body tamei, to make a person tamei from eating truma. With a half a loaf, with a half of a half, in the amount of time that it takes to eat a half. This is going to be clearly a problem. It's going to be a problem. We'll see. But hold it, because we have a very long brisa here, and we're going to have other issues. So, patience.
Where did they come up with this Pras versus Bates calculation?
Right.
Because you ever try eating an egg, like, quickly? Or just eating an egg, like a whole egg?
And did you have a dip with it? That's the
Nearly
question.
impossible.
That's a hard ball.
Choke on the yellow.
If it was sunny
Right.
side up or soft ball, it would slip down. Hard ball, they can-
Right.
Obviously, we now know what kind of eggs he eats.
A science is soft to this, that, but an egg is probably not
That's
the
all he
problem.
gets.
It's like a certain amount of time.
With a little salt and a
Like
hard
a
piece
teaspoon
of
of cinnamon.
Remember that movie with Yomi?
On Yomi, yeah. I
He
was,
ate hard-boiled eggs.
yeah.
The Gemara discusses,
saw that movie.
just want to clarify, Abby, the Gemara discusses that
What was the
if
name
someone
of
eats a
it?
kazayas,
Just about that.
if someone eats an olive, he actually didn't eat a kazayas.
He actually,
If he eats mamash an olive, he still didn't eat a kazayas. He didn't. Why? Because of the pit. The egg doesn't have a pit. So you're comparing this. There happens to be one other variable there. That's the pit. Okay.
We don't take away his trophies.
Kate said, what's the case of someone that eats and he has this amount of time to eat it? It says, achal v'chazer v'achal. He ate and then he ate again. He didn't eat the right amount. Im yesh mitchilas achilu rishayna vad seif achila achrayna k'dei achilas pras. If there is, from the first eating, beginning of the first eating until the end of the last eating, the amount of time that it takes for eat a pras, then mitzdarfen. But yosem mikan in mitzdarfen. More than that, it's not mitzdarf. This is very clearly against Rav Noi in the name of Shmuel. He said that you have the whole day. And here we have a brisa that says not like that. This is going to be a problem later on. Okay, now, Loi hitiru lechel pachas mikashir leired v'litpal. If someone eats less than the amount that would make him tamei, this is very interesting.
Another reference. Another reference.
It's a movie, not
Jewish boy, no?
Paul Newman, Jewish.
Not Jewish. I'm not sure which one.
If someone eats less than a shear, and then he goes to the mikvah, so when he comes up, he was never tamei because he ate less than a shear. When he comes up, he's like, look at me, I'm already pure. Then he goes and he eats more. It's going to combine with what he ate before. And so he's going to think that he's tar because he went to the mikveh in middle and he's really not tar.
How are we gonna know? So if he was in his prime,
Yeah, I don't know if there's someone at the mikveh that's asking.
exactly.
I don't know.
Other people can see some of his tummy.
Right, for himself, he would know.
you have the mikveh man.
Let's say Yara. So what we're saying is we don't allow someone to go to the mikveh if he's not really tamei here, if he only ate half, because of the possible consequence that could come from that. The results could be that he may continue eating and think that he's tar and really. Yarad v'tavel, he goes to the mikveh. V'olah, and he gets up. V'shlimai mitzdarif, it combines. Maybe we'll see what the Gemara is going to do to this. They allow a pregnant woman to eat for the fetus less than the amount because of a sakana. We'll see what the Gemara is going to say about that also. All liquids combine to make the body tamei with the revius. You know, by food we said that it was a chatzi kika, right? It was a chatzi pras,
right?
A quarter of a loaf of bread. By liquid, it's a revius. Revius is like a small kiddush cup, not a whiskey glass. A kiddush cup. Our kiddush cups they make them larger, but it doesn't have to be so large. The revius is smaller than that. What is it? 3, 4 or 5 ounces, something in between there.
Excuse me, this is the strangest commentary. Why it's a danger to the mother? So, in the event that the fetus smells food and craves it, if the mother does not eat the food, both she and the fetus will be in danger.
Yeah.
Just saying, that's new science for me.
Is that new
The
science?
fetus can smell?
Do you remember?
Came to share today.
Do you remember?
Something.
There's a book, the memoir of Glickle of Hamlin. Remember that book?
Oh yeah, right away. It must have been on the top of my reading list.
So anyway, in that book, you remember this book? It's an old book. So in that book, she's pregnant, and she smells. It's this lady from the 1600s. She smells some sort of fruit that I'm not sure they translated it from German. And she goes into labor that night. She was in the marketplace. She goes into labor that night. The baby's born with some sort of rash all over the body. She sends the servant down to buy that fruit. They put it in. They squeeze it into the baby's mouth, and they put it in. The rash goes away. And she says, "I know some people don't believe that what a pregnant woman smells doesn't matter. And let me tell you, sometimes it doesn't matter, but sometimes it does." You remember that?
It's a wonderful book.
Yeah, it's the only account from the 1600s from a woman, and it said this from a woman. Her father-in-law ran off with Shabsai Tzvi, sold his house for a ruble or something.
Written by a Jewish
Okay.
Wow.
So for the
Her name
Glickle.
is Glockel.
Glockel probably. It's a U with the
With
the 2 dots on the top. Is that an E?
Amazon right now.
Get the last copy.
You'll enjoy it.
The last copy, doctor. Go ahead.
So, okay, we say that a revius for liquid, b'chtei achilas pras, has to be drunk in the amount of time it takes to eat half a loaf of bread. Ketzad shasa v'shasa v'chazer v'shasa. She drank, or he drank, and then he drank again. If there is from the beginning of the drinking to the end of the last drinking, it combines. But isn't
it supposed to be revius? Not what's processed food?
Processed food. So it's the amount of food that takes to eat in time of a.
What do you say? Processed for dates.
That's the whole shiloh with making a bracha achrayna on coffee, because you drink it
in the time.
Slowly. The amount of it could be you drink a revius in the amount of time it takes to eat achilas pras, or do you need to have it drank in the amount of time to have drunk it in the amount of time that it takes to drink a revius. That's machlokes. That's so you get into an issue.
I drink it where you drink the whole coffee.
Okay, you're not here.
If a woman touches a person that was tummy mace, and now she has to nurse. She nurses her baby. By touching her baby, she's not going to make the baby tummy, because the person that she touched was an abatama. She becomes tummy from an abatama. She becomes a rishon. She can make food tummy, but she can't make another person tummy. So she's going to nurse her baby. The question is, the milk that the baby is nursing, is that going to make the baby tummy from drinking that milk? You follow? It's not the touching; it's the milk that the baby is swallowing. They allowed her to nurse her baby, b'natar, and the baby is pure. Ketani mias. It was taught in this brisa. It's supposed to say, right? Let's say Achila Achrayna, it says, B'chtei Achilas Pras Mitzdarif combines Tiyufta de Rav Noi. Dr. Stein, is that how it works? Tiyufta de Rav Noi, is that a question on Rav Noi? Tiyufta, yes, it is a question. Okay. Like we said before when we learned it, that's going to be a problem. Amar Mar said Amar Mar is quoting a Tanaic source. And we're going back to exactly this brisa that we quoted. We're going to discuss it. Someone that ate less than a shear is not allowed to go down to the mikveh. Maika Amar, what does this mean? Amar Rav Yehuda. Rav Yehuda explains. Hachi Kamar Rav Yehuda, his first generation Amayra. He explains. If he eats less than the amount, they don't allow him to go down to the mikveh shem yard v'taval, because if he does go down, and he gets up, v'hishlimai, and then he eats the rest of it, then mitzdaref, it's going to combine with what he ate earlier. V'asilameim is going to say, Ahani le'tfila kamaisa. I already went to the mikveh. I start over. I press the reset button. Ve'in yedeya, and he doesn't know shein tefila el bachreina, that the tefillah only helps afterwards. So that's why. So in other words, what Rabbi Yehuda is doing is he's explaining that the reason for one of these cases in the brisa is explained by what it says right afterwards. Ketani was taught, they allow her to eat for the fetus because of the sakana.
But you're saying that because a person did a shtickle partial of it or whatever the story, chatz or whatever, you're now predicting that he's going to finish it. What if he doesn't?
We do this sometimes.
So that's it. So you can never look at the mikvah because we don't know when and where, or you have to wait until you're already done the kav. Chayva, not schus. Who says he's going to?
How much time does he have to eat? We're talking about we claim not Rav Noi, but we claim that it's K'dei Achilas Pras. So he would have to wait if he wants to use a mikveh
to see that he has not
to see that it's done. It would be 4 minutes. It's not a big deal. If it was the whole day, I hear you.
Within 4 minutes, you're telling the guy, wait.
Isn't there
It's the mikveh police. Huh?
Let's just say,
right.
No, it's this. And getting on the highway, there's a light that says 1 car at a time. So this is the 4 minutes.
but also let's just say water takes 11 minutes to digest it, and that's after that you don't. In between that you don't have to work again. This. Tell me about better something. Then you go to the mikvah. Maybe they should keep you in. I think you have to only win that.
Okay, the Gemara asks, were you worried about health issues over here? We allow her to eat less than a shear. I feel tuvanami. If there's a sakana, you can eat much more than that. I feel tuvanami techel. Amar Rav Papa. Rav Papa explains. This is a much later Amar. This is what it means. They allow her to eat less than a shear many times. There's a danger. So you eat less than a shear, but you wait and then you eat again, like they tell people that need to eat on Yom Kippur. Ketani was taught, they allowed a woman that touched someone that was Tamei Meis to nurse her son, but not tar. Okay, this is an interesting Gemara. How it works. It has one nuance here that is like a little surprising. The Gemara is going to suggest that maybe milk that's nursing is going to be food. It's going to the category as food as opposed to liquid. We'll see how this works. The Gemara says, "Amai tar? Why is the child tar? Even the yanak chalav, itmele mechalav. The child should become tummy from the milk. How much milk would he have to eat? Would he have to drink? A revius or a chatzi pras? I don't know how much. That's a v'chitema.
Yeah, you measure it.
Right.
In these times of the Gemara, how would you even measure it?
Right. What are you going to do? Weigh the mother?
Beaker,
You weigh the mother. And then you weigh it afterwards.
I wouldn't do that if I'm like liberty and happiness.
Milk is ochel. Why? Some people don't drink in the morning before davening milk in the coffee because it's ma'achal tinokot. So they don't use. So it's the maaseh.
He doesn't hold by that.
I don't hold by anything, but
Very nice.
it's been psak halacha.
Okay.
I didn't say I'm holding by that.
So the Gemara says, "V'chitema." Maybe you'll say layis kasher. Maybe the milk is considered food. And food, in order to become tummy, it has to get wet. So the Gemara is saying, but it's wet. The Gemara is saying, but it didn't get wet by anything else. No other liquid came on it.
It's like you're in a pool and you don't want it to rain. It's like.
So the Gemara says,
What are
well,
you
no,
doing in the pool
it
of
does
the
get
rain?
wet. Niskasha betipa malachlechas al piyadad. There's a drop of milk that came out that touches the milk that's in the baby's mouth. And that milk that came out that the baby's not drinking, or that is left on the woman, is touching the milk that's in the baby's mouth, makes the milk wet. Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rabbi Barhu Shiyanak b'tkifa achas. It says no, he drank with like a thrust. That he drank it all, and there's no milk left
It's
on
obviously
it.
an exception case. It's
Right.
a different type of situation than everything else.
B'tkifa achas that leiniach tipa malachlachas al piyadad. He didn't leave any milk there. It's a strange case.
Be tired,
How are we
is that-
gonna know if that happens either way?
Right. Amar Rava, that's Rava's point. Rava says, "Shtei tshuvas bedavar." There's two problems here. Chada, the kachazin and the pumid the yanuka, the malichalav. First of all, we look in the mouth of the baby. You see that it's full. That means that there has to be a little bit of moisture left on the woman. It has to be something that is going to make this milk wet. This water wet, right? So it's going to be, this milk is wet. V'oid, another problem is makam chalav mayanhu. Okay, this means that if someone is tamei and then they spit or they use the bathroom, those fluids that come out of them are also tamei. So you don't need to have a certain amount